This is Jeb Blunt, and it's Money Monday on the Sales Gravy Podcast.
Say make money, money, make money, money, money. Make money, money, make money, money, money. Money makes the world go round. I'm the talk around town. Remy gave me the sound.
All right, we're back with another Money Monday on the Sales Gravy Podcast, because when you start your week strong, you end your week strong. And I'm a little late getting this out because this weekend I was on the Sales Gravy Awards trip that we call Pinnacle Club, where we celebrate our entire team and recognize our top performers. Congratulations to Brooke, Brad, Keith, Beth, Sarah, Jessica, Gina, Tim, Ashley, and Grace, who all took home awards for being our top performers. Ben Hogan, who was arguably the greatest ball striker the game of golf has ever known, taught that if you wanted to improve your swing, you should focus on the cause rather than the result. This was good advice for golfers and brilliant advice for sales professionals, because in sales, if you want to sell more, it pays to become obsessed over your behaviors, techniques, and processes rather than your outcomes. You see, most salespeople are focused on winning or losing individual deals. They get emotionally wrapped up in every prospect, every conversation, and every close attempt. And when they win, they're on top of the world. But when they lose, they're devastated. But top performers, well, they've got a different thought process. They're not obsessed with any single deal. They're obsessed with the process that creates consistent results over time. And this process goal mindset shift is the difference between feast-or-famine selling and predictable, sustainable success. Here's what happens when you're obsessed with outcomes instead of process. Every deal, every month, every quarter becomes life or death. You put all your emotional energy into individual prospects and hitting numbers, which clouds your judgment and makes you act desperate. You take rejection personally. When someone says no, it feels like a personal attack on your worth as a salesperson. You make poor decisions under pressure. When you need to close a deal to hit your number, you start discounting too early, chasing bad prospects, or making promises you can't keep. Your performance becomes inconsistent. You have great months followed by terrible months because you're riding the emotional roller coaster of individual wins and losses. And you burn out faster because the constant emotional highs and lows are exhausting and unsustainable. Process goals are different. They focus on the activities and behaviors you can directly control, not the outcomes that depend on factors outside of your influence. Instead of, I need to close 3 deals this month, a process goal is, I will make 50 prospecting calls every day. Instead of, I have to win the Johnson account, it is, I have to have 4 meaningful touch points with stakeholders at Johnson this week. Instead of, I need 120% of quota, it's, I will follow my proven sales methodology on every single opportunity. Process goals put you in control. You can't control whether a prospect buys, but you can control how many prospects you contact, how well you qualify them, and how consistently you follow your sales process. When you focus on the right activities consistently, the outcomes have a tendency to take care of themselves. It's like compound interest. Small, consistent actions create massive results over time. And you're not devastated by individual losses because you know that if you stick to your process, the wins will come. And when you're not desperate for any particular deal, you make better strategic decisions about where to invest your time and energy. And every day you hit your process goals, you build momentum and confidence, regardless of whether deals close that day. Process goals turn successful behaviors into automatic habits rather than the things you do only when you feel motivated. The truth is that sales is a numbers game, but most people focus on the wrong numbers. How many deals they close, the size of those individual deals, their closing percentage on active opportunities. But top performers focus on goals like how many new prospects they contact each day, how many first-time appointments and discovery calls they conduct each week, how many proposals they deliver each month, and how consistently they follow up with existing prospects. You see, the difference is control. You can't control whether someone buys a day, but you can control how many people you talk with today. When you focus on process goals consistently, the magic of the compounding effect kicks in. If you make 30 prospecting calls each day, that's 150 per week, 600 per month, and 7,200 per year. Even with low conversion rates, that volume creates a massive pipeline. If you follow up consistently with every prospect using a proven sequence, your closing percentage improves dramatically over time. If you ask every customer for referrals using a systematic approach, your prospecting gets easier and more effective because you get more warm introductions. Process goals create a flywheel effect where each activity makes the next activity more effective. This doesn't mean that outcomes don't matter, because they do. You still need to hit your quota and close deals. But the key is, when you focus obsessively on the right processes, the outcomes become predictable byproducts rather than uncertain hopes. Top performers track outcomes to measure the effectiveness of their process, not to determine their self-worth or emotional state. And if the outcomes aren't meeting their expectations, they adjust their process because they focus on the cause rather than the result. One of the biggest benefits of process goals is the emotional freedom they create. When your identity and confidence are tied to activities you control rather than outcomes you don't, rejection stops hurting. No becomes just another data point that helps you improve your process. You can walk away from bad deals because you're not desperate for any individual outcome. Your pipeline is constantly full because you're always feeding it. And you sleep better at night because you know that if you executed your process well today, you're moving toward your goals regardless of what happened in any specific conversation or on any specific deal. On the other hand, process goals require patience and faith. Faith that if you do the right thing consistently, you will get the outcomes you desire. You might make 30 calls a day and not close anything, but if you make 30 calls every day for 6 months, you will close deals. Average performers want immediate gratification. They want every call to turn into a meeting, every meeting to turn into a proposal, and every proposal to turn into a closed deal. Top performers understand that they're not going to close every deal. They understand that sales is a long game where consistent process execution creates inevitable success. Now, it's important to remember that your brain will resist process goals because they're not as emotionally exciting and sexy as big outcome goals. Closing $1 million deal feels way better than making 30 prospecting calls. But here's what you need to remember. The calls create the deals. The process creates the outcomes. The activities create the results. Top performers get excited about process goals because they understand that controlling the process is how you control your destiny in sales. It is a focus on the cause rather than the results. I'm going to wrap up with my final thoughts on process goals in just a moment. But before I do, I want you to go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and check out my brand new book, The LinkedIn Edge. The LinkedIn Edge is a powerful prospecting book that leverages LinkedIn and AI to help you fill up your pipeline faster and reduce the number of cold calls that you have to make. And it plugs directly into my best-selling book, Fanatical Prospecting. If you go now, you can pre-order it, and you will be the first person on your team, on your block, in your industry to get this powerful book. I'm so excited about it. Go pick up the LinkedIn Edge on Amazon or Barnes & Noble right now. The next time you catch yourself getting emotionally invested in whether a particular prospect buys or not, stop and redirect your focus to your process. Ask yourself, did I execute my process perfectly with this prospect? Did I ask the right question, follow the right methodology, and advance the opportunity appropriately? If the answer is yes, then you've succeeded regardless of the outcome. If the answer is no, then you have something specific to improve for the next time. You will never close every deal. Instead, your job is to execute your process so well and so consistently that closing deals becomes an inevitable byproduct of your process. As the great Hogan said, focus on the cause and the results will follow. And remember, at the end of the day, when you're tired, when you're worn out, and all you want to do is go home, always make one more call. Because that one more call is a process goal that you can control, and it might just be the one that changes everything. This is Jeb Blunt, and I'll see you next time on the Sales Gravy Podcast.
Survival of the fittest, you can sink or swim. I've been broke, I ain't never going back again. I need some C-notes, some cheddar, and a stack of ends. I need a bowl of dough, I don't need no Facebook friends. I need a pack of them snaps, a handful of Fetty Wops, and rubber band on my greenbacks. Look, dawg, don't be playing with my paper. I need every red cent, that's why I brought my little scraper. Take money, money, money. Take money, money, take money.